So yes, thank you for that. I'm so glad that we resonate on so many different pages. It seems like we're talking from a very similar book. And I contacted you again for the astrological reading because I've been going through, my own troubles and my own ups and downs, and I think it's time for me to, kind of get a little bit of focus on a little bit what I should be doing. And how you said your page has been on hold, I would say my Ready for Our page hasn't been as consistent as it was when I first started, due to tons of things, due to financial limitations, due to my own lack of time management, a ton of things. So with having this conversation with you, I hope to get some energy so I can continue to be re-inspired to produce my videos, because the people really appreciate what I do, and I feel bad when I don't put out the content the way I used to. How did this start? I already mentioned my birthday and the time that I was born and all of that. So.
Okay. So you're ready for your reading?
I think so. My first reading ever by Kateria knows, also known as Kateria name.
Okay. So what year were you born?
I was born 1987.
Oh, the same year as me.
Yep.
Okay, and what city?
Brooklyn, New York.
Okay, and you were born at 10:32 p.m., correct?
Yeah.
Okay, let me make sure. Okay, so I have your chart pulled up, and wow, you have a lot. I'm assessing it for myself. You have a lot of earth and water. Very earthy. That's a good thing, though. That is definitely a good thing.
Why is that a good thing?
Okay, so because it makes you a practical person and is actually able to cast out what you state you will do. A lot of time when a person has a lot of air, they will just be talkers and not necessarily have the patience to carry out what they desire.
Amazing. Do I get an opportunity to converse with you while you're doing this, or should I just let you go and do your thing?
You can converse. You can chime in. You can ask any questions.
Okay.
And I'm going to explain the chart to you.
I just want to say, I do like in my own personal life, like especially now, the fact that I'm on a raw food lifestyle, it's like more so than ever. Anytime I put something out to the universe, anytime I make a statement, I almost have to do so. And I get really ticked off when other people say they're going to do something. It could be the most minute thing, but I'll remember it. And to myself, I'll be like, yo, why are they not doing as they say? Like, I just, you know what I mean? But I've come to realize that, everyone isn't made with my magnetic field, but still at the same time, it's just like, it just seems like if someone's going to say something, like there's power in the word, and we as a people, as beings, should fulfill those words. Or if you can't fulfill it, let it be known, like, hey, this is the reason why I'm not able to do so on and so forth, and we can communicate and be clear on that particular verbal contract. So you can hear my voice, how serious I am about this. But continue.
Mhm. Yeah. That's that's how it will be. Being a Capricorn. I'm gonna explain your chart to you. Okay, so let's get into your chart, and as we go, I'm gonna explain the different planetary positions for you. So my favorite one to start with is the rising sign. Now, your rising sign is the first house. It's your outer reflection. It's your representative self, what others know you as when they first meet you. It's your representative when you're going out in public. Your first impression, how you address yourself. And oftentimes, most times, people are a completely different person from a first impression than to actually being their friend or their lover or their close family member. So you have your right. It also describes your face, your physique, your personality, and what matters to you. First, it could also be your drive, what you're driven from, or what you're driven through. So your ascendant, also called the rising sign, also called the first house, is in the sign of Virgo. And so Virgo risings tend to be very critical of themselves. They're the most critical on themselves, where others will think that everything is, fine and well upon themselves, their looks and everything. The Virgo risings, they can deal with insecurities because they look for perfection, or they could get caught up in fixing their clothes, or they tend to dress very nice. They tend to be very well put together. Their shoes are always clean. Their hair is always cut and trimmed, and they always are looking very well put together. Virgo risings also are driven through health. Health is vital and very important to them. Their overall consumption, what they put in their body, their nutritional wellness, their fitness programs, their exercising, all of those things are like the first things that the Virgo rising thinks about, because Virgo rules health and fitness, and so they take it upon themselves to be healthy people, and that's what they look for. That's what they're driven through. Virgo risings are also great assistants. They could bring a lot of help to other people. They make some of the best physical fitness trainers, the best nurses and or doctors as well. Virgo risings tend to deal with headaches or sinus issues from time to time. That could be an area, that they have to work on, because they have Aries in the 8th house, and Aries rules the head. And so Virgo risings have to take care of their heads. They have to take care of, protecting themselves from getting headaches or brain aneurysms and all those types of anything dealing with the head. They have to take care of that area. But they tend to have very strong bodies and are able to heal pretty quickly. If Virgo rising gets some type of a cut, they can heal it really fast. And Virgo risings also tend to have some form of a cut to their face, or they have had a concussion at some point in their life. Have you ever had a concussion at some point in your life, or hit your head really hard?
Well, you know what? I have this scar on my forehead, on I would say the left side of center, coming from my hairline down, and I think that I was either dropped as a baby or dropped and burnt on like a radiator of some sort. Now, this happened before I could actually speak. Maybe before I was even 2 years old or something like that. I gotta ask some of my elders about that. But yes, I do have a scar on my head.
Yeah, and you'll tend to find that with Virgo risings. So, are you the type of person that shines their shoes before they leave the house?
You know what? In my high school years, I would make sure that all of those things were clean. Now, I'm not as I don't want to say vain, but I don't do that as much. But for the most part, my clothing does stay clean, and I like to think that I do look good when I step out.
Right, and you have your page about optimal health, correct?
Correct.
Exactly, and that's your drive. You're really passionate about that.
Right. Most definitely.
Your rising will be your passion, because the rising sign is the first house, which is also ruled by planet Mars, and Mars rules Aries, and it's all dealing with passion and your drive. So anyhow, your sun sign is Capricorn, and you already know a lot about that, I'm pretty sure. But Capricorn, they are very serious people. One thing I tell Capricorns is to relax. They can be workaholics, where that's all they do. They could get stuck and trapped in that area of just working, although they enjoy it. Now, Capricorns are ruled by Saturn, which deals with lacks, blockages, limitations, and what have you. So it will have a Capricorn feeling that they have to work a lot in life, and oftentimes it could lead a Capricorn to being kind of depressed because they feel kind of isolated. They feel like their lives are kind of hard, or they have, so much to do, but it's all what they are putting upon themselves. But Capricorns, all the great kings were Capricorns because they actually have the ability to put forth action. They have the ability to sit for long periods of time and get their work done. They have the patience to carry out such duties. They tend to be very serious people in their demeanors and their personalities. And this is because they rule discipline. But when they are actual Capricorns or Capricorn risings, Capricorn moons, they apply it to being self-disciplined. They discipline themselves to become masters. Capricorns tend to become masters of whatever field that they are in because they are very serious people and they take the time out to carry out such acts and such duties. Capricorns also deal with fame and status, and that could be one of their drives or their abilities is to achieve a certain level of status, a certain level of fame as well. And they appreciate that because, like a Capricorn, they're not the type of person where they could just go to this old Reiki healer and this person that has a sign, I'm a Reiki healer. A Capricorn is like, how long have you been a Reiki healer? 2 years? Nah, I'll wait for another 15 years. They want to know that you have status in the arena that you're in. They don't like, the people that are, quote unquote, bullshitters. They like people that are serious in what they do, and they like to see your credentials. That's what Capricorn is about. They want to see your credentials. And so, the moon sign is in. Did you have something to say?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say on my Facebook page, my profile photo is the Pharaoh King Akhenaten, and some may think that it's just some people might just think that it's those guys look alike, but for me it's more deeper. I actually resonate with him, and I feel even my purpose is to actually erect an off the grid society, similar to what he did in the past in regards to raising Aten or Amarna. So, I find it very interesting that you mentioned the fact you mentioned earlier about, I guess, the Saturn having blockages and also being a serious king. So,
yeah. Yeah. That is very interesting how it aligns to Akhenaten and your resonance in that area. That is interesting. And so, your moon sign is in the sign of Taurus, which is really good because the moon is exalted in the sign of Taurus. And what that means is that is the very best place for the moon to be. And the moon is exalted in the sign of Taurus because Taurus is stability and the moon is emotion. And a moon is also the home, and you want to have stable emotions. And now the moon, it's the home, it's the emotional self. It also represents the mother or the women that were in your life, how you feel on the inside. The moon is kind of like more of your personal stuff that you allow others to see. But with it being at a trine to you were born with a grand trine of your rising, your sun and your moon, so that's very powerful energy. You actually manifest everything that you desire just through these energies alone. And you shine in your field. You have your sun in the 5th house, which is absolutely amazing. One of the best places for the sun. The 1st house and the 5th house are the best places for the sun. And
what does that actually mean? Being in the 1st house and the 5th house. What house are these? I don't know.
So you have your sun in the 5th house, and so the sun in the 5th house. The 5th house is pretty much like the house of Leo, where Leo is ruled by the sun. So the sun is at home in the 5th house, where you actually get attention for what it is that you do. You have a lot of willpower and drive and ambition for who you are as a person. You will naturally be a boss of your field, whatever that would be. People that have the sun in the 5th house, they tend to run their own business. They tend to be CEOs of a company opposed to just a worker in their field. And you have the sun in the 5th house. You actually do as you say you will do. You will achieve what you want to achieve, and you will raise status in that area, whatever it may be. You're the type of person, what you speak is who you truly are, because it is also in a conjunction to your Mercury. So what you speak is who you are, and it also allows you to be very creative, too, in whatever the field that you're in, because you have the sun in the 5th house. The sun rules creativity. The 5th house rules creativity. So it'll make you a creative person. And with you being a Capricorn, it'll make you a serious creative person, like even having built pyramids or building something, being an architect would be idealistic for you. Creating something that is tangible and hard, and something that will last for a long time, but something that is creatively constructed, like such as the pyramids or what have you. Also dealing with the public, and like you have your show on YouTube, that would be a very great field for you, because you will be bringing truth to people, because although Capricorn doesn't rule truth, there's a truth that resides within them. They're a traditional type of being, and that's a traditional sign where things that they do, they're not the sign of Aquarius or the sign of Pisces, where things are kind of loopy or off the wall and aliens and all these other strange things. Capricorn is a serious sign. So all things that are dealing with a serious nature, which is tradition, things that were old, you guys are the sign of bringing back the old things. And even with you having Capricorn, the sun in Capricorn in the 5th house, you will gain more status. You would have had a status at a young age as you are now, and had attention as a child, but as you grow older, your attention also will grow, and you will by appearance you will seem to never age as well. You always have like this vibrancy about yourself, this certain type of a strength about yourself. Like you have the serious nature of a king, but then you have this presence of a lion, And that's what happens when you're a sun in Capricorn and it falls into your 5th house. You have this certain type of a strength that it's infused with this fire. So it's that's a really, really good alignment. And then you have Mercury there in conjunction to your sun, and it's also in the 5th house. So it'll have you being aligned with your pride and not being afraid to speak who you are and speak from the space of your pride, not of conceit, but just, being a prideful individual and being an honorable person as well. Very well respected also with that position. It's combining two of the most powerful signs is Leo and Capricorn, and you have those energies infused together within your chart, aligning you to that. So also as a child, you could have taken on a lot of responsibility, because it's in the 5th house, and the 5th house is the childhood and or children. Also becoming a father would be in alignment for you, although when you have such a placement, you become a father later on in life. And are a natural disciplinarian when it comes to children. So if you have children or nieces and nephews and things, you will be seen as a serious person that's ready to construct them to become stronger people, and not just, like the fun person that just lets them run around and carry on. You're more of the serious person in that field. But as a child, you may have been let down in certain areas, could have had separations from your father in childhood. that made you feel like you had to grow up faster than other people also. So, and then is that any of that?
Yeah, I would say I wasn't particularly raised by my father. He was vaguely around in skirts, but I was raised by by women, by my aunts and older sister, other very influential women. So yeah, and also my mother did die when I was 2 years old. So all of what you're saying mattered, or it was spot on.
Oh wow! And yeah, that energy is showing itself in your fourth house. I didn't get to your fourth house yet, but you have Saturn conjuncting Uranus going into your fourth house. So she passed away from some form of an accident.
No, she. It was said that I'll say the two main reasons that I was told by my family. One was that she died of a heart attack, and the other by like dark, let's say bad magic of some sort, some type of spiritual attack. So even to this day, I'm kind of undecided on which one is accurate. Maybe it could be a conglomerate of both, but for most of my life, I was told that she died of a heart attack, and then later on in my life.
But it was sudden.
What was that?
It was a sudden death, like it came out of the blue, or were you guys weren't expecting for her to pass?
No, my family for the most part wasn't expecting for her to pass. They told me that she would be somebody that would get tired really easy, so maybe she had health ailments, which maybe I would say subconsciously sort of put me on this journey of health as well as spirituality, especially in regards to the point I've heard from my family members that she died because of some type of attack of some type of negative spiritual attack. So, but that was the latest story that came really late in my life. For the majority of my life, I was told that she died of a heart attack, and I would say my family, my elders, even kind of stood on that, even to this day.
Wow. Yeah, you do have Pluto. It's in your third house, but it's also crossing your fourth house or having influences in your fourth house. And then you have Lilith in the sign of Cancer. Cancer rules the mother, and Lilith is the dark energy. So it shows that there was some hardships and issues with the relationship with the mother, and either from her passing or her not understanding you. I also have this placement, and I had a very troubled relationship with my mother myself. But then with you just having Pluto in the sign of Scorpio, where Pluto rules death and transformation, where the energies are affecting your fourth house, the fourth house being the mother, it shows that right here in your chart that would have been something that you had dealt with. And when I said was it some form of an accident, it wasn't necessarily like an accident, but it's something that was sudden because it's Uranus that is in your actual fourth house. Your fourth house is Sagittarius, so it would show that it was something that was sudden and something that wasn't expected. Like it's not like she had cancer for 5 to 10 years and everybody was just kind of sitting around waiting for the passing of her. It was something that wasn't planned for.
Right. I'll mention this as well to mention cancer. My father actually told me later in my life, like really, really late in my life, that she had revealed to him that she had cancer. But I would say in how she died, if she had a level of cancer, as we spoke on, candida overgrowth being one of the root symptoms that aren't actually spoken about, it would have been a slow death. It wasn't a slow death. It was a very instant death. So,
right. Okay, instantaneous. Okay, so my condolences go out to you. I know you have healed in that area. And so this is what this is showing in your chart. It's written throughout your entire chart, first of all. Being Capricorn in the fifth house, that showed, with your mother passing, you were age 2, right?
Yes.
so with that happening, you had to kind of grow up and mature in a certain area in a certain way that many people didn't have to, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because you didn't have, you know, that. So you had to kind of grow up in other ways. You weren't just babies. Okay, so we're looking at the moon. The moon, you have the moon in a sign of Taurus. And, wow. Okay, so it's crossing your 9th house. So, yeah, you have the moon in Taurus, in which that is really good. Like I stated before, it's the stability of the self. And this shows that you are stable in your emotions, and this is what has carried you through the hard things in your life. Is even though you do harsh things, you are able to be grounded in your emotional wellness of things. Although having the moon in Taurus, it could have you kind of riding on emotional instances for a long time, where you can be a part of the emotions, a part of the effects of the emotions for a very long time. Yet and still, nevertheless, Moon in Taurus is a great placement because it has you sound in your being within yourself, where you are stable inside of yourself. But other people have the moon in like Aries or the moon in Pisces or what have you. You know, you could kind of they can feel a little bit chaotic on the inside and really frustrated or really depressed and sad. But the moon in Taurus, they're very practical in how they deal with the emotional situations, which is healing, which is good and and well. And with it being in your 9th house, this is a very beautiful placement of the moon. It allows you to still be optimistic with whatever you may be dealing with from an emotional space. It could affect you. Anything that could affect you, you still see the good in all things. You know, it has you naturally being a happy person where others will get down and out about certain things. You're like, okay, yeah, that happened, but still, we still have these things going on, and you can see the bigger picture of it all. Any emotional situation that comes across in your life, you can see the grander reason for it. Even the passing of your mother, going through your spiritual transformation, it will have you open your eyes to bigger and broader things. And this also shows that your mother is a guardian angel, because if she's still guiding you. I don't know if you have spiritual connections with her. Well, you do have spiritual connections with her. I don't know if you're open to them. Not as of yet, but as I read your chart more, I'll see that. But she is able to be a guide and grant you blessings and benefits. Financial benefits that come out of the blue are coming from your mother.
Thanks, Mom.
Anything that is... Huh?
I said, thanks, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. She's still there for you from that sense in that space, and even with her passing at a young age, you had to become strong, and she granted that to you as well. So she has, even though she's not here, it's kind of hard to not see her benefits, but she has strengthened you in more areas that you can't fully see, because it's difficult for you to step outside of yourself and see from another person's shoes or perspective. But since that has happened to you, it made you grow up and made you mature, and it made you become stable and sound within your beingness more than others. Although that also has impacted in some ways kind of harsh, because you have Venus in the sign of Sagittarius, and then you have Mars and Jupiter there, so it does bring a bit of a conflict when it comes to connecting to the opposite sex. That's where, some of the issues will kind of come about, and there's not the full clarity that you're looking for in that area. So, but we're not on that part of your chart yet.
I was ready. I'm like, give it to me. I need that clarity. But yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. We're definitely not far. So,
no worries. Everything is saying is amazing. So please, we'll take our time when we get there.
Okay, definitely. Okay, so you have Mercury in the sign of Capricorn, like I was stating earlier, and Mercury is your thoughts and processes, the way that you communicate, and it's the way that you learn. the way that you translate information to others. And so it's in the sign of Capricorn, and this is, in your 5th house, so it will have you being a very creative speaker. And having Mercury in Capricorn in the 5th house, it will give you the ability to write a long novel, not a, like me, I could write a long book, but it's going to be like 100 pages. You, on the other hand, you have the ability to write a 400-page book because Mercury is calm in the sign of Capricorn, and it allows you, the patience to carry that duty out. And also Mercury in Capricorn, it could have you learning a lot about what is it called? The Great King, like you mentioned, Akhenaten. This is an area of interest of yourself. People that are in some form of a leadership overall. Learning about. I don't know if you've read that book, The 48 Laws of Power, but you did.
Mm-hmm.
See, you read it. I haven't read it because I don't have that placement though. But you would have that place. You would have read it because that's something that you're attracted to learning about.
Right.
And also Mercury and Capricorn individuals, they take their time when it comes to speaking. They have long conversations. It's not that they speak too much, but they are able to carry out a long conversation, for clarity. They can be in a class for a long time as long as the subject is interesting or what have you. They do like entertainment, though. They don't like things that are boring. They don't like boring conversations, but they can, carry out a nice, long, lengthy conversation that is healthy. And the reason why I state this, and you'll probably even see yourself, this has been a long conversation as it is.
Yeah, exactly, because it's interesting.
You will see yourself in long conversations. This is not my fault, okay? This is you. Your chart. You can have long conversations, and you'll see yourself having long conversations with other people. And the reason why you have such long conversations, or it seems like people can't get off the phone with you, or you can walk away from another person, is because Capricorn rules time. Or you will even talk a lot about time, or talk about your goals. Like, those would be the highlights of your conversations. Like, oh yeah, I plan on doing this, and oh yeah, so I'm going to get married, then I'm going to do this. And you talk about like some of the orders that you have in mind, or have things planned out according to the time. Also Mercury and Capricorn individuals, they have the ability to understand numbers, to understand math, and so they are usually good at handling money because money is numbers, and that's what that grants you. So it's definitely very promising. And Mercury and Capricorn individuals also have great memories. They can remember something for a very long time, and they can recollect something that has happened a very long time ago, more than others. And you could probably remember more of your childhood than most people can.
I wish I could, though. I wish I could, because I don't remember anything about my mother, and that's something that haunts me to this day. At the same time, like you said earlier, in regards to just the appreciation, like looking at things at the brighter side, I do that a whole lot. Like, if that didn't happen, or this didn't happen, I wouldn't be here, type of thing. Like, I'll shift it. But I do wish I had more better memory. That's something that I do like.
Yeah, well, if you meditate and you tune within and all those things, you could actually recollect those types of things,
It's interesting that you say that, because I'm consciously focusing on attempting to at least meditate now more so than ever, and I've even tried to bring in persons or people to assist me with that meditation.
Right. And I don't know if you have gotten like a past life regression, but you would be able to get that and get clarity in that area as well. Also, speaking to your elders, speaking to people who are much older than you is a pleasure for you. Learning the things that they have done in their lives and how they have carried out certain things. It's nice for you, or you may naturally see yourself talking to older people more frequently than others. I almost never talk to older people. It's kind of odd.
Really? So you speak to people that's younger than yourself?
I am normally speaking to people like within our age group, like
Okay.
Not past 40. Not that I have anything against old people, but just naturally, I'm usually talking to people not past the age of 40 and people that are not past the age of 15. Like it's just. That's just, who I naturally attract. And I'm always talking to strangers as well because I have, strangers are my friends are who I speak to the most because I have Mercury in the sign of Aquarius, dealing with strange people or, dealing with the friend, and that's rules friendships, So.
Yeah, I'm always
talking about astrology.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've always been attracted to older folks. Like I remember being in high school, like I had one of my, I would say, people that I actually consider friends were actually the said teachers or the counselors. Like those are the folks that I even hung out with them more so than people that were in my generation. Right. Even to this day, like I still connect with those folks, and even now I really resonate with older people. I guess I find it a little more easy to converse with them. I don't know if it makes me like kind of, I just say, an old soul in a sense, but I can connect with people my age. But it's just, I've always geared towards older folks.
Right, yeah, and that's what happens when Mercury is in the sign of Capricorn, and that's exactly what it will do. And that's that's a good thing and that's what helps you to mature faster than most, So, okay, so that's your Mercury, and you have Venus in the sign of Sagittarius, and Venus and Sagittarius. Okay, so Venus is the way that you love, the way that you express love, the way that you receive love. It's also who you're attracted to, what makes you attracted to another person. Also, and what's your value system, what you value when it comes to relationships. And Venus also rules money, which you spend your money on, your food as well. So when you have Venus in the sign of Sagittarius, these individuals, they like partnerships that they can grow into and grow with, or they also like to have multiple relationships. You'll see people with Venus and Sagittarius being polyamorous or polyandry or polygamy, poly, period. Sagittarius is poly. So they'll be in multiple relationships. Mm-hmm. And they also are attracted to exotic people or people from a different ethnic background than themselves, or they see themselves caught up in long-distance relationships, or finding their lover or their soulmate in a foreign land. They're attracted to exotic features, or they themselves in some form have an exotic attraction that people are attracted to. People with Venus and Sagittarius, I have Venus and Sagittarius, and people are always like, oh, you have such an exotic look to you, or you look. They never just say, oh, you're African American, or it's always something else added to who I am. Although I am Trinidadian, nevertheless, that's melanin. That's a melanated person. Yeah. They're always speaking of being outside of black. So that's what happens when Venus is in the sign of Sagittarius. And it also has you willingly spending your money on pleasurable experiences such as travel. That's a great thing for you. You want to travel. That's your pastime. That's your pleasure. And comedy movies too. Instead of just going to see some old boring movie, you want to laugh. Venus and Sagittarius, they like people that make them laugh, and they like to make people laugh. When it comes to that, they want to connect with a person. You catch a Venus and Sagittarius person wanting to date a person that has a similar philosophical viewpoint as themselves when it comes to life or religion. Your Venus and Sagittarius people, if they are dating a foreigner, that foreigner has the same religion as them, though. They're Muslim, that foreigner is going to be Muslim or what have you. That's really important to them, to be able to have that spiritual connection and unionship with their lover. And so You have, okay, so you have Mars in the sign of Pisces, and Mars is the way that you demonstrate action and move throughout life. And it's also how you argue, what you fight and argue about. And it's also your passion, your drive, your motivation. It also describes your sex style. And so we have Mars and Pisces. Mars and Pisces is a pretty difficult position because Mars, you know, is forthright action and direct, and Pisces is, you know, confusion. Sometimes you catch yourself going in circles or not being fully clear on exactly what it is to do at times, especially when it comes to relationships. And this is what I was seeing in your chart, is you have Mars squaring Venus, and Venus being relationship and Mars being the action. You see yourself getting into really bad fights and arguments with your lover because of lies, deception, some forms of deceit, or just the lack of clarity, or you'll find yourself dating a person and them turning out to not be the person that you thought that they were, or they thinking that you were someone and you turning out to not be who they thought you know that you were. But this placement also will have you be attracted to psychic type of women, or dealing with women who have those psychic powers. But with squaring your Venus, it could have you having them kind of using that energy or those types of things against you, or even getting into a relationship with a person who acts like, you know, they're spiritually in tune, but they're really crazy. and or sick in the head because it's Mars, or just physically ill. And you being a Virgo rising, you have Pisces in the 7th house, so you have Mars in the 7th house. So there tend to be arguments or separations from your mate. But you will see, you have Jupiter and Pisces there in conjunction, so you'll see yourself connecting to people and helping them into a higher realm of spirituality or consciousness, and they will help you and assist you in that area too. And there's also some benefits from Tantra practices when it comes to your marriage partner. When it comes to the person that you marry, they should definitely be in alignment and in attunement with their own spiritual practices and spirituality. A type of a mystical woman, a woman that's very mystical in her nature, in her way of seeing, and her she has to have like a higher sense of awareness of life, and you know, all those things. You're an awakened being. You're not an awakened being that will necessarily date a girl who is so fixated on going to a Drake future concert. You know, you would want to date someone that's, you know, more into crystal healing and, you know, more into the taboo and mystical things of life, you know. Also, you will also probably meet the woman, if you're not in a relationship now, you'll probably meet a woman that is a comedian herself.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I'm not in a relationship, but the people know I'm not in a relationship right now. And just to backtrack, it's so interesting because in my own head, I don't think I need a polyandrous or a polygamous relationship, but I constantly I feel that's gonna happen. And even now, like I do feel sometimes I do feel comfortable with like an open type relationship, like currently now. At the same time, while knowing that the only type of relationship that I want to be in is if I'm building with that person. So it gets kind of weird because I would say typically people see building as just being like in a monogamous relationship, but I do see myself like if I'm with somebody, it's no longer to just play games or to be a parasite to that particular person. I want to, as you stated, build them up, and then they can also build me up as well. Like there's a really popular photo going around Instagram and Facebook of black man and black woman with an afro, and the top half is flesh and their bottom half is in stone, and it seems that they're chiseling each other out of stone. So basically, they're working together. And I love that photo so much. I actually went and purchased it and put it on my wall to project that, that's what I'm about. I'm really about building and lifting each other out of whatever negative confinement that we're in, whether that be this particular system or emotional or spiritual. That's what I'm about. So it's truly amazing that these things are right on.
Right.
Even in regards to being attracted to, I guess you didn't say this, but it seemed like it was gearing towards like a, let's say like a typical quote unquote spiritual type woman in regards to the crystals and all that. I've always been like, in regards to the wife in my head, as Oprah would say, who's my best friend in my head, somebody that you don't know, I would say like Erykah Badu. I've always been attracted to Erykah Badu, even to this day.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I was going to say that too, and she happens to be a Pisces.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. And she is actually a Pisces. That's really interesting that you said that.
Okay, so we got more relationship coming, or was that it? Because I like this part.
Oh no, I'm not done.
All right.
So in regards to all of that, that's exactly what is stated here, and so what I'm touching on, like where the places that you would meet the woman, you can meet your woman through traveling, or she could be somewhere away, far away, or you can meet her like in a space of helping other people, because Pisces energy, they like to help other people. Or she could have also been a woman that has felt victimized in her life through certain experiences and all the things that has transcended that energy, because she would have seen the brighter side of the things that have happened to her within her life. You have Saturn in conjunction to your Venus, and you have Uranus in conjunction to your Venus as well. So when you have Saturn in conjunction to your Venus, it shows that you'll marry more so later on in life. It also shows that you would want to have a long-lasting, serious relationship, not something that was here and there, but something that has some type of a solid formation to it. Then with you having Uranus in conjunction to that energy, it could be something that kind of happens out of the blue, such as love at first sight, or someone that you meet over the internet as well, through social media or whatever. That would be like in a distant place, a further place from yourself, because it is still in Sagittarius. And excuse me. And one moment. This is very interesting. The ideal woman for you would be a woman who was, let me find it. A woman who had a woman who was spiritual, very, very spiritual. A woman who was stable with her own finances, her financial wellness, and her stability, her own home, all those things, her own material possessions that wasn't like leeching onto you. And she would be very dreamy, very mystic-like in her nature, very giving and soft, very, 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 very feminine, strong, because you have Mars here. A woman who is very feminine, and yes, still strong and independent in her own right. And she would have to be very serious at what she does. You would have a very, very, very nice relationship. But overall, that is your ideal woman. And that's very possible, especially with all these people that are waking up in today's time. As far as when you meet a person, you're in your Saturn return right now, and Venus is also in the sign of Sagittarius right now. this would be an idealistic time to kind of put yourself out there and, and fish. I guess you would call it. And you would call it fish because it's Pisces. Pisces is your 7th house, so go fishing. But very interesting. Very interesting. This is beautiful. I can't wait to meet her. She's going to be a very beautiful, very powerful woman. Pisces tend to be the most beautiful women. And like you stated, like Erykah Badu, who happens to be Pisces, who happens to be very spiritual. And she really pretty much describes everything that you would be looking for when it comes to a woman and when it comes to a relationship. So, very awesome. And, and she will also be like some form of a spiritual leader in what she does. Yeah. So, okay, so where am I? That was Mars. So you have Jupiter in a sign of Pisces. Jupiter is the way that you grow and expand in life. And you have this in your 7th house too. That's why the woman that you would marry would be very spiritual herself. Jupiter is the most spiritual planet of the zodiac. It is the planet that rules over Sagittarius, and Jupiter is the benefit planet. It's the good luck, fortune. This is where you benefit the most from in your life. And so when you have Jupiter in the sign of Pisces, people that have Jupiter in the sign of Pisces, they are at their best when they are in the space of helping other people, in the space of giving back and doing things that. So when they're in the space of being pretty much the martyr, like Jupiter and Pisces people, they don't just live their lives. They live their lives so that they can help other people. Like what you're doing with your show, you're putting information out so other people can hear it and learn, and so they can grow within their own lives. And that's what you would do, but that's also the type of the woman that you would be with would be into as well. And so also with it falling into your 7th house too, you will benefit from marriage. You will benefit from the partner that you would marry. You will grow from that person. You guys will grow together. So you will naturally actually end up having the exact type of a relationship that you want to have, pretty much. So you just be patient in that area, and it will come into fruition and into order what you wish and what you desire. Jupiter and Pisces, people are also very in tune with their psychic awareness and premonitions, and you should actually live through that energy, because you have Mars there. So you could be given certain dreams, certain psychic things happen to you. You'll benefit from psychic people overall. Yourself, like you would actually be that person that says, I'm going to call my psychic and ask her this question or whatever, and she tells you, yeah, if you play the lottery today, you're going to actually win, and you actually literally go out there and win because you're psychic or whatnot. You will benefit from those types of people and those types of things happening.
You might expect a call every day, Kateria. Yeah, I'm going to win today because I'm about to play.
That's funny. You could win the lottery when like the moon is in the sign of Sagittarius, or when it's in the sign of Taurus. Yeah. So anyways, moving along. Oh, okay. So yeah, you have Saturn is in Sagittarius, and Saturn is your lacks and blockages and obstacles in life. It's the area of life that you have to take responsibility over, the place where you have to be serious. And with dealing with Saturn, there's something in astrology called the Saturn return that you're going under right now. And the Saturn return is when Saturn comes back around, and it tells you, it checks on you every 28 years to see if you have grown up and you have matured in this particular area in your life. And this is dealing with your emotions, your emotional wellness and well-being. That's an area that you have to grow in and grow and understand. Also dealing with the home and having the stability of having a home environment and solidifying that. So this will be a really good time for you to have gathered your finances and taken care of that area, you know, balancing your checkbooks and making sure your money is on point and learning what money is and how it's to be ran, and then purchasing your home. And that's what's going to solidify this time for you. And that's how you're going to show Saturn that you are learning its lessons. The Saturn return is said to be the hardest time in a person's life. And it could be if you don't understand what's going on. But this is when Saturn, it comes into your life, it just makes sure you are maturing and you are growing in this field, this particular field, in this particular area. And so you'll see yourself in this next 2 years, and in our Saturn return, I'm in my Saturn return, of course, as well. Saturn return began December 24th of 2014. 2014. So when that happened, when that came into play, really about September of 2014 is when we started to see the effects of Saturn, when you dealt with a certain emotional situation. It could have also separated you from your home or from the environment. This also deals with the energy of your mother, and that just not having your mother be a part or in your life could have affected you more now than any other time where you felt you were fine. But just, you know, as this time has presented itself, you're remembering or, you know, thinking over your life and thinking how you could have benefited if you would have had her more in a physical space, a part of your life. But once you tap into the spiritual realm and you see how she has benefited you and she continues to benefit you from a spiritual space, then you will get over the emotional instances that has played in your life, and you'll be able to see it more optimistically and see her as an angel. There's two placements in your chart that shows your mom as being an angel, and that is your fourth house, and that is also your in your ninth house. Your mother is in your ninth house and she's in your fourth house, showing you that she's there benefiting you. She's there guiding you from a higher place. She is distant because it's Sagittarius, and that's, you know, Sagittarius rules distant lands, foreign affairs, like I was telling you earlier. So, but you have to understand more of the spirituality and spiritual things in life. Your mother has never left you. She just has been in her rightful form to be able to take care of you from the place that you have written the contract on for her to take care of you in this incarnation for yourself. So you can call upon your mom more than most people, and she will grant you whatever you desire. You could pray to your mother. I can give my mom love. My mom is here with me, but, you know, I'm more of a help and assistance to my mom than she is for myself, you know. So you are actually able to call upon your mother, and you'll see little blessings from her and things like that. And she's always a guide, always opening your eyes to certain things. And she is the reason for your spiritual awareness and awakening, because she's out there in the spiritual world, and she's bringing you messages and showing you the way, even if you don't know that she's saving the way. She yet and still is. Oh, okay. So your Saturn return will have you having to strengthen that area. Wherever Saturn is hitting, is strengthening that area in your life. I don't know if you dealt with any separations from your home, or if you moved from a home, or you dealt with problems in attaining a home, but that is the area that you have to get correct. You know, getting a nicer home, or your home may have been crowded, may have been small. Even becoming a parent at this time will mature you as well. So you got to be mindful of what it is exactly that you're looking for. Your finances, it's in conjunction to your finances because it's in conjunction to Venus. And so once you stabilize yourself from a financial perspective and space, you will learn the lessons of Saturn, and you will meet the person you're supposed to meet, you know, marriage-wise and all of that. Also, if you were in a relationship that ended, it would have ended probably kind of strangely and or abruptly, where feelings were just gone and just lost, and, you know, the overall connection were just gone and just lost. But that instance would have taught you so much about relationships and what they truly mean to you. And also, you have this energy squaring your rising. So you have to learn more about yourself, and that's what this astrological chart would be doing for you, is allowing you to learn more about yourself so that you can correct those certain issues of where sometimes you're not fully clear on who you are, and you're not fully clear on your standing, and or the projection that you're putting out into the world, and to other people. And so this time during your Saturn return is going to have you solidify your position, solidify your status, solidify your career, your passion, your purpose, and all those things, so that you will be more clear on yourself. Once you are more clear on yourself, you'll be clear on the relationship, the type of relationship that you want to have, and that person will naturally open up and be presented unto you. And that's what is going on with your Saturn return as of right now. Your Saturn return is going on until summer of 2017 is when it will be over with. I think fall. I think September. It's September of 2017, I believe, or the summer. I have to check into that. But yeah. So learn as many lessons, and this is the time where you get. I know you're already a serious person because you're a Capricorn. So your Saturn return wouldn't be as harsh on you as it is on other people, because you have already been living with the energy of Saturn your entire life anyhow. So you will be able to do well in this time, but it's going to be more serious, where pretty much you're just like, okay, you know what, this is who I am, this is what I want to do, and now you're putting everything into order, into perspective, and crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's, and getting things done in a consecutive fashion. So you're becoming more mature. So I was on Uranus.
Say it again. You were on what?
Uranus.
Oh, okay, Uranus.
Yeah, they say Uranus.
Uranus. Uranus is a nice way to say it, because it doesn't like, it doesn't sound like that other thing.
Right. I like to call it Uranus.
Mm-hmm.
I think more in the age of Capricorn, they're going to call it Uranus, because it would have ran them by that time, because Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius, and right now we're in the age of Aquarius, and it is running us. So in the age of Capricorn, they would call it Uranus at one point in time. So you have Uranus in the sign of Sagittarius, and you have it in conjunction to your Saturn, you have it in conjunction to your Venus, and that will have you meeting someone out of the blue, or even dating a friend, and also getting married later on in life, or having a very strong solidified marriage, and all of those things that comes with a serious relationship. But Uranus, in the sign of Sagittarius, Uranus is a generational planet. And so everybody, I believe it's like within 7 years, have the same planetary position. And so our generation of Uranus and Sagittarius people, we're the ones, it's the planet of Aquarius, so it deals with the revolution, it deals with groups and activities. But our generation, we're the ones really being the beings of the guru. This is the reason why everyone on social media sounds like some type of philosopher or some type of a guru. Because our generation is the one waking people up and making people become more spiritual and being more spiritually aware. And this is how we revolutionize. We're revolutionizing from a larger scale, on a global scale, because of the sign of Sagittarius. And we're all being philosophers and talking about the philosophical viewpoints of life, because it's in the sign of Sagittarius, which rules philosophies overall. And we're touching people from a global perspective, and on a broad scale, because it's a sign, and using technology, because Uranus is the planet that rules over Aquarius, which rules social media, which rules the internet. And with it being in the sign of Sagittarius, that means many people, lots of followers, and people all across the globe in distant lands, because Sagittarius rules distant lands, and all of that. So that, what we are living in right now, is our generation. It's our generation's time everything that we see on the television is all about our generation. So you have Neptune in the sign of Capricorn, and Neptune deals with your fears, also deals with your fantasies and your dreams and desires and all those things. So it's also a generational planet. So everyone, I believe, within like 12 years, I forget the orbital rotation of Neptune, but nevertheless, Neptune, our generation of Neptune being in the sign of Capricorn, we are solidifying those areas of our lives that we are able to actually manifest our dreams. And what is beautiful about Neptune being in the sign of Capricorn is it makes those metaphysical teachings more real opposed to just being fantasy. Because when you think about the sign of Capricorn, you got to think about things being real and being made manifest. Because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. Saturn is the manifester, and that's what happens during your Saturn return. All those areas that you see the lacks and blockages and obstacles, once you work that area and you do it the right way, you end up owning and honing that energy. Also, one thing I didn't tell you with the Saturn in Sagittarius, it allows you to be a spiritual guru, and you have to take responsibility of your spirituality and be serious about it, but also be looked upon as a leader in that arena of life. So, Neptune being in Capricorn, we are actually able to manifest our dreams. And Neptune being in Capricorn, we do understand like the crazy things of life, so we understand them through a reality of life. Okay, so
that's interesting because for the most of my early teen years to late mid-adult life, I was an atheist. But I can say for the past year and a half, or when I actually started consciously focusing on being this Rotarian, I would say my spirituality is and continue to come back to me in a different way. But it's key because it's key in regards to how you explained it, in regards to our spirituality being real, or in the sense of kind of tangible. You didn't say the word tangible, but you said something of it being real, and you mentioned, you emphasized the reality of things. I know when I have conversations with people, they kind of separate spirituality and physicality, and I'm constantly like, I don't like to debate people as much anymore as I used to in my past. But I do, like in my life, I feel that it's connected. Like there's really no separation between the spiritual and the physical. How I articulate that, I'm still learning too, in a sense. But it's a line in regards to what you're saying. And
exactly. And that's something that I should have mentioned too. Having Saturn in Sagittarius, especially in the fourth house, it can have you not believing in what you had been taught to believe. And that's what our generation, like, we've been taught certain things about spirituality, and then when we have all this energy squaring Pisces, squaring Neptune, we're like finding out the things that we were taught is not true. So, it would cause you to have a disbelief and or be atheist in your standings of certain things, So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So then you have Pluto in the sign of Scorpio, and Pluto is hold on one moment. Okay, so yeah, Pluto is in the sign of is in Scorpio, and that's a generational planet. And our generation pretty much are very sexual people. Like, we sexualize so many things, but also we're really into the taboo things of life. We're into the mysticism of life, and like astrology, the occult sciences, and metaphysics, and tantra, and all these different things, yoga for healing, and blah 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 blah. And our generation, we're the ones that are bringing those mystical practices and those occult practices and sex magic, back into the world and everything. Yes. So if you have Lilith in the,
No, go ahead.
you have Lilith in the sign of Cancer, and Lilith being in a sign of Cancer, that shows, the separation from the mother, the hardships, dealing in that arena, in that area.
Now you said I have Lilith?
Lilith, yes. Lilith is the dark moon. Lilith is the dark moon. And it deals with, like, the dark shadow self. The self that we need to keep in check, the part of ourselves that we tend to avoid. And people that have Lilith and Cancer, they either have dealt with the transition of their mother, or women with this placement, they can be bad moms, or not the best moms, or they could have had many abortions and things like that. So, yes, Lilith and how it has affected you personally is, your mother passing away when you were a child, or if, like me, for instance, my mother was very abusive in my childhood, extraordinarily abusive, though, not on the regular side. So then you have the North Node in the sign of Aries, and the North Node is your ascension path, and it's so important. I did a video on the North Node. I don't know if you had a chance to check it out.
Yeah, I did check it out, but still explain what the North Node is and its resonance.
Right. So the North Node in the sign of Aries, the North Node is your ascension path. And so when you say the North Node, what's the opposite of north-south? And wherever you have a North Node, you have a South Node. And the South Node is always in the complete opposite sign of your South Node. They're always in opposition to each other. But your South Node, they say that's the area of life that you mastered in your past lifetime. So it's the area that you're the most comfortable in. And so if you have these, so the issue in life is, like, the North Node is pretty much like the devil in our lives, along with Saturn, right? So it's like that part of yourself that is trying to pull you up out of your comfort zone. The North Node is your non-comfort zone. And so, and it's the area that you're learning in this particular time in your life. And so we have the North Node in Aries. It puts your South Node in the sign of Libra, and Libra deals with relationships and court matters. You're probably a judge, and you live life fairly and all these different things. And in this life, you see how things aren't necessarily fair, and you feel very lonely. You feel like the lone wolf. Oftentimes, and your relationships don't go always as planned and ideal, and it's because the great grand scheme of all things, the Creator wants you to be alone and get with yourself and know yourself first, fully who you are, your lacks, your blockages. Everything is about you with no compromising. Period. So Aries North Node is the person that if there's a fork in the road, they say, oh, go left or go right. No. Aries North Node has to completely dig up their own path that no one else will ever see, as never tread. You can't ask much advice from other people. Even if you ask advice, you still have to kind of figure your own way, period.
Wow.
And that's the trouble. Because,
yo, that's dope. This is amazing, because I actually had I have a colleague, right? And I call him Sensei. This dude, he talks like a stereotypical Asian old sensei. So I call him Sensei, right? So today I'm at work and I say, Sensei, what's today's lesson? And he says to me, he says, discuss your matters with others, but make your own decision.
Yep.
And I said, thank you, Sensei.
Yeah.
And I kept it moving. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's exactly what the Aries North Node is all about. It's like you will go through experiences that you can't ask no one about. Like, how do I get through this? And everybody will be like, I don't know. You have to figure that out yourself. Like, and you are learning to be a leader. You're learning to lead and to have people. You're the initiator of life. Basically, you have to start things that no one else has started before. you have to do things, and you'll oftentimes see yourself doing things by yourself or being alone. Like Aries North Node people, they often are alone in their houses by themselves, going to places by themselves, going out to dinner by themselves, going to the movies by themselves. You know, I'm a Aries North Node, so it's definitely, yeah, we have a lot of the same places because we're born in the same year around the same time. Yeah, so you see yourself like spending a lot of time by yourself, you know, and the reason why you're so alone is because the Creator needs you to get in tune with who you are, get in tune with what you want to be, not influenced by any others, but you, period. All you is all about you. This is, you know how they got the song, I bet you think this song is about you. It's, I bet you think this life, anyways, it's
I know, I heard it. I know the song.
Oh, okay. So it's, I bet you think this life is about you, and it is. That's because it is. Everything is all yours, but you have to figure yourself out first before you lead any other people, before the masses come rolling in to ask for your beck and call, before your wife and your partner is there by your side. You have to completely get in tune with who you are. And so you'll even see yourself being that in social circles, being more of the leader, or not even being able to take another person's advice or direction. You have to take your own advice and go your own direction, and you know, and configure. You're the person with the answer. You know, you're the person to follow, but you have to fully fine tune yourself to what it is that you are, what it is that you desire, before other people are able to adhere to that. So that's why you're experiencing the times of the lone wolf, is what they call it. And yeah, that's your hour reading.
Thank you, yo. That was amazing. Thank you. The great initiative. I'm over here taking notes too. I'm like, you know, even though I got this recorded, I'll probably play it time and time again. I wanted to ask you, do you also have your Pluto sign in Scorpio as well?
Yeah. See, now that's how the generational planets work. Like, if we're born in the same year, we have, I have Jupiter. Okay, I have Jupiter in the same sign as you, Pisces. I have Saturn in the same sign as you, Sagittarius. I have Uranus in the sign of Sagittarius. I have Venus in Sagittarius too. I have Neptune in Capricorn, Pluto in Scorpio, Lilith in Cancer, the North Node in Aries. And that's what happens when a person is born around the same time as you. You guys, your outer planets tend to be the same, you know. And that's starting from Saturn on down, really, when they're in the same year as you. Even Jupiter, it's actually Jupiter on down if they're born in the same year as you. So we have all of those planets in conjunction.
That's amazing. So we have like the same magnetic field influencing us for the most part.
Yeah, we have a very similar mission, like, you know, to be spiritual leaders and to guide and to be initiators, shakers and movers and all of those things in this new wave movement, you know. Our year, 1987, is a very powerful year. People need to stop sleeping on that year. Because we're going to be the ones to really get things going. And the generations after us, they're going to solidify the things that we do now.
Amazing. I prior to doing this particular reading, I've done the free computer readings, and just to touch on the romance part again. I see a lot that, like they say, Taurus is the type of person I should be looking to, like look for the best sign for the compatibility of your sign. And they say Taurus is that. Like, you didn't mention Taurus, and I don't know if you were being easy on me, or is it because I'm a Earth sign Capricorn born in my particular time, but I didn't hear too many like negative things. And even when I'll say this before you answer, I'll say what I have to say. Even when I did the ones on the computer, there weren't too many like negative stuff either, but I don't know if you were just holding back to keep it up on the up and up, you know. So you could touch on in regards to, I didn't hear you mention Taurus, you mentioned more so Pisces, which I find interesting because they say Pisces is cool from Capricorn as well. Yeah, that and the detriment.
Okay, well, the reason why I mentioned a lot about Pisces is because you have Pisces in your 7th house. Mm. And the 7th house is the house of relationships and partnerships.
Oh, okay.
And I did mention a little bit about the moon. You have the moon in the sign of Taurus. And so, yeah, when a man is looking for the woman that he desires, you are to look to your moon sign and your Venus. So the moon is very prominent. So, but I really touched on Sagittarius because you have Venus in Sagittarius, and then you have the moon in the 9th house, which is the house of Sagittarius. So the woman will be ideally in a lot of ways. She doesn't have to be Sagittarius, but some kind of foreign person, someone that lives far from you, or someone that is very spiritual in her beingness. Although she would be very stable in who she is because of the Taurus energy, she'll have her own wealth. She'll have her own money. She could also be very fortunate in that area. You having the moon in the sign of Taurus in the 9th house also says that you yourself will be very, prosperous, and financially well off as well. So, but the reason why I touched so much on Pisces is because you have Jupiter in Pisces, you have Mars in Pisces, and it's sitting in your 7th house. You only have one Taurus placement. Okay. So, although a Taurus woman would be ideal for you because you're a Capricorn, and Capricorn's love sign is Taurus, and then your moon is in Taurus. So that will be a woman that'll be highly, highly attractive to you. And she doesn't have to be a Taurus. She could just have Taurus-like qualities of being stable, being in touch with nature, being a woman that is natural, wears her natural hair, doesn't wear too much makeup. A woman that likes nature, that likes animals. And then, you have Taurus in your 9th house, so a Taurus woman would make you happy. That type of a woman overall would make you happy. Having a good woman, in a stable relationship would bring a lot of pleasure and happiness to you overall. So, but the reason why I touched on the Pisces is because your 7th house is, that's the house of the partnership.
Beautiful. And also, I didn't hear much detriment again. Like, is that because I'm, Capricorn? I don't know. It's a very in the ground type of practical person, and it's like, yeah. Go ahead.
Your chart. Yeah, I gave you the reading of your chart in the placements because I did an hour reading on it. And so I gave you the hour-long chart. Really, a chart can be done, like a full, complete chart is completed within, 3 hours.
Oh,
so,
wow.
But you can, it's $60 for an hour.
Oh, okay.
So I gave you the hour reading. Of course, we would go more in depth, but that is, a deeper chart. That's dealing with your planetary, that's dealing with the aspects. I did your houses, and I did your planets. You do have the aspects, and I did some of your aspects, but not all of them. Like, I didn't do all of your houses, but I gave you the hour long. So you do have Mars squaring Uranus, so you could deal with accidents and sudden outbursts and outrages and sudden angers, and out of the blue someone's upset with you, or out of the you're really angry, and you could have a very explosive temper. That can be odd, strange, indifferent, and weird. You also have Jupiter squaring Saturn, so sometimes you could lack certain discipline in yourself and kind of overdo certain things, or you could also overdo your Saturnian energy, where you will overload yourself on work in the areas of Saturn, or getting caught up reading for 40 hours straight and haven't eaten anything, just like overdoing, those types of things, or overlearning and being so fixated and focused in that area because, you have some type of a mission here on Earth, and you feel like you're under some type of a time constraint or restraint that you have to get certain things piled in at one time. So those are the negatives that you would deal with. And also you have Uranus in a square to your rising sign, so you could look different. That will also make you have a more slender appearance, because Uranus is a sign that rules over Aquarius, and they tend to be slender in their appearance. But with it being at a square to your ascendant, it could be something of the issue that you may have dealt with, like being uncomfortable with your height, being too tall or being too slender, or things like that. You have, what is this? Your chart shows that you would be quite slender because you have Jupiter in opposition to your ascendant, as well as the Uranus square. And so even though you are an optimistic person, you may not appear as such. You could appear to be more of a serious person than an optimistic, jolly type of a person in attitude, And then also, I don't know if your planets are retrograde, what planet was retrograde, this or that, but that, gives a deeper reading too, For the most part, the reading that I gave you definitely describes and explains who you are. You have positive planets and positive placements, and for the most part, you also know yourself. You're clear on yourself. You don't have a bunch of placements that tells you you're unsure of yourself. You do need to get more comfortable with your stage presence, and because you have Leo in the 12th house, so there can be some insecurities that you deal with, insecurities of your physicalities, and people that are Virgo risings, they tend to like to take the back seat or do things behind the scenes, because they don't want to come off conceited or over boastful and all of those things. So they tend to reserve themselves because of that.
That's amazing. A lot of my videos, I'm not on camera. A lot of my viewers been saying get a microphone, and I'm gonna get a microphone. But a lot of my my videos are of other folks as well. So that's the line right there. It's amazing, because sometimes you feel like we're in total control, and then we might not be in control, or we're just part of a grand function.
Right.
So. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. And thank you for that bonus. You just gave me the bonus round. Thank you for the bonus round. I really appreciate that. And I want to, if you want to, go into where people can find you, how much it costs to do the readings. I'm sure people are going to contact you after this. They're going to want their own readings. And, you gave us a hint of the initial price, but then there's obviously longer readings. You could go into price if you want, or there's a website or Facebook or Instagram. Give us the best way to contact you.
Okay, so the best way to contact me as of right now is through Facebook. I do have an Instagram. It's Kateria Knows. That's KATERIAKNOWS. Kateria Knows on Facebook. Follow me on Facebook. Check me out on YouTube. Check me out. Hit me in my inbox if you want a reading. My charts are $60 an hour, and I also do new moon and full moon specials. $20 for 20 minutes. Telling you about the transiting moon and how a full or new moon, how it's going to affect you, and different rituals that you can do to maximize and benefit from it the most. And I also do the Mercury retrograde charts that is telling you how Mercury retrograde is going to affect you as a particular person and individual. And those are also $20 for 20 minutes. Those are specials. I do transit charts that tells you, those are $60 for an hour, and the transit readings will tell you how all of the planets are affecting you at this current time, and how to get through. I teach you how to get through that certain a certain time frame according to the planet. And so it's pretty much like the moon in the Mercury retrograde readings, but it's more in depth because it's dealing with all of the planets and how in their planetary positions upon the self. So, yeah, those are the best ways to reach me. I will have a website for the astrology coming up sometime this year. But yeah, check me out as of right now on Facebook, Kateria Knows, The Mystical Genius. My like page, my fan page. You can also just follow me on my regular page at Kateria Knows.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you, or talking with you. And I would like to add that in regards to you saying that the billionaires utilize the astrology, I want to say that from my perspective, the indigenous, they utilize these things in their daily lives, and it's been stripped from us, stripped from our memory banks. Or it's in our memory banks, but we don't utilize it, and we have been kind of trained to fear these things. I know I asked you your perspective. This is my perspective. I think we do have to get back to these types of systems, so we do have more clarity, and we can counter days of extreme parasite behavior. There was a gentleman, as a matter of fact, to name him, I remember I went to a lecture, Dr. Ali Muhammad, who I feature on my channel. He said that he did the astrological charting of the young brother that got killed in Florida with the hood.
Oh, Trayvon Martin?
Yeah, Trayvon Martin. He did the he has a different system where he utilizes the Olmec sort of charting, and he said that was like a really bad day for him. So I say that to say, if we get into these things, we can at least have an upper hand on our lives, as you clearly stated that you utilize for yourself and your family. So again, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you. And if you'd like, we could even do. I'm not going to just say it weekly, but anytime you feel you want to put something out there, whatever, you could utilize my platform. I'm giving you the opening to utilize my platform. We could do a joint thing just to let people know that these type of things need to be conversed on. Some people again think it's like devil worship or anything like that, or they're really scared. But we have to. I think it's our duty to let people know, like, hey, this is something positive, and we need to utilize it. We need to.
Right.
Again, thanks so much. Appreciate you, and thank you.
I appreciate you too. Thank you so much for having me on here. I'm definitely honored to be on here, and I really appreciate everything that you're doing to get this information out there to the world. Thank you for your beingness and existing on planet Earth at the same time as myself, and actually answering the call that you have been given to rise to your higher self and your higher nature. You are a pioneer in our field and in our time, to reconstruct time and reconstruct planet Earth so we can heal these generations that are coming behind us. And, I definitely appreciate that of you being a melanated man. We need more brothers like yourself out here doing these work. So I definitely have been honored to take the time out to check out your chart and for you to ask these questions. I'm very humbled by the experience, and I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the words. It's late on the East Coast, and thank you for staying up and making a call, and also this is like a birthday gift to myself, so thank you again.
Oh, yes. Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Indeed. Enjoy your night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.